curious, how does Raphael flow through you?
When I first started, I was completely unconscious and I would go into a trance and record it and I would wake up and I would have no idea what Raphael was saying. I'd have to re-listen to it. And then over time, it was sort of like a dream and I would remember some parts and not other parts. We recognize that there is a lot of static and chaotic, edgy frequency on your planet and you're being bombarded by a lot of information that is coming in at this time from many directions, and it can create a sense of feeling scattered.
Is there anything that we need to know about the energy on the planet right now, or the energy that's about to be coming to the planet right now?
I hear many of you speaking about fifth dimensional energies as if it is a place in which you want to go to, and yet that dimension is already here and present. The next one would be the Lion Gate. It's donation based. It's open to everybody. Anybody can come. It'll be at 11:11 a.m. on 8/8. And the Lion Gate is one of the most potent and powerful gateways. It's going to open on July 28th. It runs to August 12th, the energy opening. And then people can join the codes and keep getting the information. We have DNA and healing and self-love. And the next one we're doing is the Violet Flame in Mount Shasta with Saint Germain.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, it's so much fun. Join us for the Lion Gate and feel the energy move through their body.
Welcome, everybody, to the Heart Coherence Collaborative. I'm so excited to have Kelly Kolodney with us here today. And the reason I'm so excited is our good friend Pam Gregory highly recommended you, which is actually amazing because Pam's become one of our new great friends. So anybody she recommends obviously has to be amazing. So I'm excited to learn everything about you today.
Oh, well, thanks so much for having me. I love Pam, and she is just such a beautiful soul. So, so special. So that was so sweet of her. So yeah, thanks.
Yeah, so I would love to just hear about your story a little bit, so we could get our audience familiar with who you are.
Okay, so my name's Kelly. People call me the Angel Lady.
Nice.
I know, right? I've been channeling the Angel Raphael since I was 21 and I'm 58, so a long time. And Raphael, my sister and I were under a type of chiropractic care back in the late 80s with my brother-in-law, and he would touch us very gently on the base of our spine. And we would just sort of start to move in these waves in this room with other people. And the energy would just come in and flow through our body. And we didn't really know what it was. And then one Thanksgiving evening, the energy came in. It came into my sister. And it was just like putting its hands like this. And it was saying, so beautiful. And we were like, what is going on? And over time, we realized it was Archangel Raphael. And so it happened to my sister first and then me. And I'm so grateful that we were both channeling at the same time because I think otherwise we would have maybe dismissed it or thought we were going crazy, or everybody else would have thought we were going crazy. And so it gave a lot of validation for the experience that we were both having.
That's amazing. I've never heard of an entity coming for two people. So what was that like? That had to be pretty amazing.
Yeah, it was really amazing. So I had just graduated from college and I was living with her. She's 12 years older than I am. And she lived in a house at the time that had 3 stories. And I'd be sleeping at night and Raphael would come right into my body and I'd be getting all this information. And I'd like wake up and I would leave my room and sort of go to meet her. And she would be coming down like 3 in the morning from the 3rd floor. And we would meet on the steps and be like, did you get that? Did you get that? And so it was just fascinating. And at one point, her husband was like, this is amazing. Like, how can this energy be coming into both of you? And it says it's the Archangel Raphael. And I have to remember it was back in the late 80s. So we didn't really have the idea or the concept of quantum physics or entanglement or the understanding that it could be omnipresent in everyone everywhere all the time. And so what he would do is he would put me in one room and her in another room, and he would go into the room where I was in her office. He'd close the door and he'd ask me questions and I would channel it and we would record it. And then he'd run into the other room and he'd ask her questions and he would record it. And then we would listen to it. And it would be about, I'd say 97, 98% the same word for word thing. So it was, even though it was somewhat different, it was mostly, it was being, we were both channeling the same energy and the same question would have the same answer.
Oh,
So it was,
wow.
yeah, it was pretty cool.
I have goosebumps and my eyes are watering. So something's happening. Now, for those people who don't know, who is Raphael, Archangel Raphael?
So traditionally, we think of Archangel Raphael as the angel of healing. In a religious context, Raphael is a male energy, carries what's called the green emerald code, is the angel of healing. But for me, when Raphael came, and even though I was raised Catholic, I wasn't really that tuned into the angels, and I didn't even remember the angel Raphael. Raphael said, I'm not a male or a female. I'm a spiral of white light, and I descend from other realms to bring messages of love. And I'm just a being of light. And I've come over the historical time and reference points in your reality, clothed with wings and a halo, because that is the most comfortable way for you to assimilate or accept my frequency.
Wow. Yeah, so we
Yeah.
talk to a lot of channelers. I'm curious, how does Raphael flow through you? Is it like, are you in an altered state, or is it just like, is he coming through you right now?
No. So when I first started, I was completely unconscious and I would go into a trance. I'd record it and I would wake up and I would have no idea what Raphael was saying. I'd have to re-listen to it. And then over time, it was sort of like a dream and I would remember some parts and not other parts. And now 30 some years, 37 years later, I'm pretty conscious of it and I feel like it's blended a little bit more. So when you say, is Raphael coming through now? Maybe a little bit, but not the same as when I will tune to it and it really comes through. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm curious, you start having, these experiences with your sister. How does it like evolve from that point forward?
It started with then people asking, "Will you channel for me?" and "Can I ask a question?" And then I was able to tune to people who've passed, and family members would want to talk to relatives and all of this stuff, right? And then I raised a family and had a normal life, but people would come in and out to my home and ask me to channel for them and do things. And then I'd say maybe in the last 10 years, I've really been downloading some pretty profound information and codes that I teach that people is really helping them accelerate on their path because we're in this intense time right now.
Our mission here at the Heart Coherence Collaborative is to get people in touch with the healing power of the heart.
And we really need your help. Right now, only 1% of viewers subscribe. We are aiming to take that number to 6%.
The reason why we want to do that is the more people that subscribe, the more people in the world can learn the magical practice of heart coherence.
So please help us out. If you ever listened, if you love this message, please just take a moment to subscribe.
Thank you so much. We love you.
We love you.
I definitely want to get into the information and the codes, but before I get into that, I don't really have my history down on channelers, but you have to be one of the OG channelers, right? Like was there anybody you could talk to? Anybody as a reference point?
No, so it was so funny. There was this book. It was called Opening to Channeling.
Yeah.
And there was no even internet when I started channeling. So we went to the library and you know how they had those old index cards and we're like literally looking up something for channeling, trying to find information on what it was. And my sister, we went into like a new age bookstore and she bought this book, Opening to Channeling. And we opened it up and it said, it's Thanksgiving evening. And I began to channel, which was really interesting. That was the first sentence. And that's also the night that the channeling started for us. And so we read that book and it helped us. And one of the things that helped with us was that we knew how to stop it. Because in the beginning, we would be out to dinner at a grocery store. And when Raphael comes in, Raphael makes the sound and like tones. And I would just be out to dinner and I'd start going, ah, like making this sound and I couldn't control it. And so then we learned how to put our hand on top of our, crown and close the energy down and move better into relationship with the vibration because at first it had its own, it was so big and had so much momentum that it was a little bit unwieldy, I guess. Yeah.
Did you ever think you were like losing your mind or anything like that? Because at that point in time, they didn't really know that this was a thing, right? I mean, it had to be surreal for you.
Yeah, that's why it was amazing that it was happening to both of us.
Yeah.
So I come from a family of five. There's four girls, and three of us, my one sister who channeled with me, and the other one, that night, the energy came through her too. It almost knocked her over. It was so intense. My eldest sister, and she was like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
So it was really fascinating. But if it hadn't happened to all three of us, and then both to my one sister and I, to the extent that we surrendered to it and agreed to bring it forward, yeah, I totally would have probably thought I was going crazy. Or even if I didn't think I was going crazy, everybody else around me would have for sure.
I'll
Yeah.
give you so much credit for just staying with it because I had an experience in my life where I felt that energy and it was too powerful and I was like, I'm out. So I like really respect the heck out of you for being able to, get through that and just not be scared because it is heavy. Yeah, and powerful, I would say. Maybe not heavy, but powerful.
Powerful. Yeah. And I was a college student. So you can imagine I was like, I remember being with my boyfriend and the energy coming in. He's my husband now, 37 years later. And just being like, I'm just gonna, surrendering to it. And it wasn't something I could share with people because they would think you were crazy. Like, you couldn't be out at a party and tell people about it or anything.
You are
Yeah.
amazing. I can already tell you're just such a cool person. Why did they choose you? Why did they choose you and your sister? Why did Raphael choose?
I don't really know. And I've never really asked, and it's not that we were anything special. I think it was just maybe before we came, we had an agreement that we were going to come and do this work, or at least it feels to me that that was my path or purpose. And Raphael back in the 80s would talk about a time on the planet that we would go through a really big change and that thousands of people would come and listen to Raphael as I would allow Raphael to come through my body. And I was like, no, that's ridiculous. That's never going to happen. And on our last summer solstice activation, we had over 3,000 people.
Wow.
And so it was just like, okay, everything that Raphael has ever told me, ever,
Hmm.
always has been true. And there's nothing over the years that Raphael's ever said that wasn't true. And so it gives me such a sense of peace knowing that it's just such a pure frequency.
Yeah, I love that. Now, you've said that he has provided a lot of information and codes. What specifically has come through recently or over the last, while that was mind blowing?
Yeah, so I think it was maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I was sleeping, and I have really wild experiences all the time that are pretty magical. But Raphael came in one night and showed me like this tablet filled with all of these codes of information and said, I'm giving to you 55 codes of light. And these codes are to be transmitted through transmissions over the next few years to help anyone who needs to align with them or wants to fully activate their light body. And then I just started hearing like names of things and they were just coming in, coming in, coming in. And I started writing them down and writing them down. And so they started with 33 and then we went to 55 and Really, if I were to open it up more, I think we're more at 64 now, which is the 8-8 frequency that's coming in for what we call the mother source infinity grid. But anyway, the codes come in and they activate the DNA and accelerate the ascension process for people. Are really powerful.
Can you talk about that? What did you say was the mothership infinity code?
Oh, so there's this during the eclipse in April of 2024 that we had here in the United States, and I was in Canada for it. Something came up which was really incredible. It's called the Mother Source Creation Grid. And it is this grid that is being formed all around the planet with infinity symbols that are multiplying, that are filled with all this light, that are interfacing with the Christ consciousness grid. And it's bringing this very powerful, beautiful, deep, feminine energy on the planet that's like kind of encasing the whole planet in this light. And so Raphael often talks about this grid that's forming around the earth, that's bringing us back into union, and it's called the Mother Source Creation Grid. Yeah.
That's beautiful. And so you
Yeah.
said that, the energy that he's sending is activating the DNA. In what way is it activating it?
So there's all, we're told we have the junk DNA,
Yeah.
and obviously nothing within us is junk. We are really beautiful divine beings. And in the forgetting, as we moved into the forgetfulness, we lost connection to these parts of ourselves that are just so incredible and magnificent. And they're coming, in a sense, back online. And as we receive these codes of information, it's activating parts of ourselves that are dormant to come back into their full capacity. So people will notice the ability to create miracles, to have telepathic connection and communication, to move into quantum creation, by allowing themselves to align with these frequencies that are our own divine innate essence that we've, in a sense, denied or have been, I would say, almost shut away from, that we're reawakening and remembering. And so some of us are more conscious that we're doing it and we're actively participating in activating it. And others of us, I think it's just sort of naturally, slowly coming online through osmosis, through the collective consciousness of so many others who are doing the work.
Hmm. A lot of people talk about the new Earth and then how we're like separating into two separate, I guess, Earths. Are there people that are turning off their DNA? Like we're hearing a lot of people that are elevating and going to this higher consciousness, or just bringing in a higher consciousness within them. But is everybody doing that?
So that's a great question for Raphael, because Raphael always says that that we're all one energy, and that when we start to say some are doing it and some aren't, we're still operating in that field of division and polarity. But of course, we're still operating as individuals and pockets of energetic fields, and some of us perhaps are more attuned and aligned to higher frequencies and are consciously choosing to grow and to heal and to evolve, and others perhaps not as much. In terms of this idea that there's this separation happening, is that what you're asking? Like
Yeah.
two,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think that there's always a separation happening, as my reality is totally separate in many ways from your reality. But if we are operating at a similar octave, we might be pulled into a specific sphere that's accelerating in one direction, and others will kind of glue together in a different field and move in a different direction. So I do think that in March of 2025, we had a choice point where we really came to the end of the Kali Yuga cycle, even though that's not like a day, right? It happens over a long period of time, but that cycle really coming to a close. And I think a lot of people decided whether they were going to move into a more organic, unified timeline, or they were going to repeat in some old cycles. And so, yes, there is some truth to that, but Raphael hates to pocket people in different places.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
like that. That's how I feel too.
yeah,
Now,
yeah.
Have you ever had a message from Raphael that was almost like so mind-blowing you didn't believe it? Or have you just always been like, all right, whatever he's telling me is true?
No, I always just know it just rings true in my being. So I've never questioned anything.
It's awesome. Has he ever
Yeah.
warned you about anything?
Um, no. I mean, for me, Raphael just brings magic
I love
and
that.
synchronicity.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my world has become incredibly magical. And even through tragedy or difficulty or pain in my life, somehow Raphael will bring this element of magic to it that I know it's divinely perfect and it's okay. Doesn't mean I'm not feeling or going through the pain, but there's always a sign or a symbol or a message or a whisper or a synchronistic thing that's undeniable that happens that lets me know it's all part of the plan.
Hmm. I love that a lot. Now, do you think, there's different people that channel in different ways. Do you think everybody has the ability to channel? And if so, like, what is it that we can do to help ourselves channel?
Yeah, I think everybody has the capacity to channel, just like everybody can play the piano.
Right, right, right.
Some of us are just more tuned to it than others, right? Like if I were to sit down and play the piano, my mind is not like wired for that.
Yeah,
So I think with practice and attention, anybody can, but I think perhaps like anything, some of us are just more tuned into it than others.
yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Now, has Raphael talked about the energy that's going on right now on the planet? Is there anything we should know?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious that things are crazy, right?
Yeah.
Um, and we're going through this enormous, enormous shift. And I think it's going to just continue to accelerate. But at the same time, although it can feel chaotic for people and sometimes frightening and overwhelming, there's something really, really beautiful emerging from it. Like really something incredible. And we're stepping into a whole new age and a whole new way of being, and reclaiming our divinity, our sovereignty, our capacity to create, to connect, and to really birth a whole new world. And Raphael keeps saying to us, just hold the vision. Like, don't get caught up in the distractions, in the fear, and horrible things. Like, really, really try to, like, she always says, hold it, hold it, hold it, which means create and see the world in its true purity and beauty and maintain that frequency to the best of your capacity. Like, don't get swept up in the chaos.
Yeah. Has he ever talked about where he goes when he's not with you and what he does?
Yeah, so Raphael says it's a messenger of light that has descended from another realm to unify us. And it feels to me that it's like a pulsation, that it's like I tune to it and I feel the energy and it comes, but when it's not with me, it's just in the oneness. So it's not out like running errands or doing something. It's just in a sea of nothingness, in the oneness, and then a pulsation happens and it comes through and then it returns. So it's like the breath in and out.
Yeah, that's cool. Is your sister still doing this work?
So my sister in 2020 passed during
Uh,
COVID. And yeah, and I was like, I can't even believe it because we had we were doing this work all this time, and then this huge shift happened on the planet, and it was really time to rev up to do the work to be of service and to help people. And she took off, but I really feel that she is doing the work on the other side and guiding me. And you know what was really interesting when she was passing? As she was on a sense almost, I've never shared this before, but getting kind of sick and weaker, I could feel all this energy coming into my body. and I was getting like stronger and had more energy. And I feel like somehow we blended, and her light is with me and sharing the messages in a different way. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, have you ever channeled anybody other than Raphael?
Back in the 80s, this energy came through. Its name was Blue Eyes.
Wow.
And its energy was from a planet that was just made of color.
Wow.
And it could talk about color for hours, like yellow. We would just talk about yellow for hours, all the different aspects of yellow. It was so funny. And it said that it came from a planet of color.
Mm.
Um, and so that energy came through. There were times when people who've passed away came through. There were times I remember being at home, my mother, who's passed now, but being in my 20s at home, and this man came in my body, and he was like a librarian, and he was talking like this, and that was when I was first starting to channel, and I could tune into different frequencies. And then I made a very conscious decision I would only talk to Raphael. However, when I'm teaching, goddesses will come through like Lakshmi, or Saint Germain, or Archangel Michael, for sure. I can tune in pretty much to any different bandwidth, star beings, whoever, whatever code I'm working with, I can usually align with their frequencies.
Awesome. I'm curious a little bit more about your work. Like, how specifically are you using this uh, information?
How am I using it?
Yeah, like, you said you had an event where 3,000 people showed up. So I'm just curious more about stuff like that. Like, what do? You do go and channel and then it's so
Yes.
fascinating.
So when there's a gateway, like a summer solstice, winter solstice, an equinox, or the lion gate coming up, the veil is very thin during those times. There's a reason why all the stones aligned to them, right? And people gathered. And it's a time where we can connect with these higher dimensional beings and really activate, as we were talking about, our DNA, elevate our frequency, attune to other realities, open our hearts, and bring a lot of love onto the planet, and really amplify the frequency around the globe. So let's say, for instance, the last event with over 3,000 people, everybody will come in on Zoom. I'll come in, I'll channel, and Raphael will come through me and do an activation. And then during the summer solstice, the activation was that we received these 12 discs of light. And these discs were spinning, and they were kind of inserted like plates coming in to our body in different places. And then they would open up into a torque field, and stored inside of them were codes of information that then merged and stacked upon one another into a unified field. And then that field, like a sphere, started to connect with all the other spheres until we created a Vesica Pisces, and then the seed of life, etc., out to the flower of life. And then that whole field went all around the planet, and we started pulsating and emanating light and love around the globe. And so that everybody at the same time unifies into a love frequency, holds that vibration for the planet, and it can be really, really powerful. And people report afterwards feeling enormous changes in their bodies. It's turning on the light in their body. It's activating the light body.
Wow. How could people join the next one?
Well, the next one would be the Lion Gate. It's donation based. It's open to everybody. Anybody can come. And it'll be at 11:11 a.m. on 8/8.
Mm.
I'm very attuned to the Lyrans. I kind of look like a white lion. I've had white lions come right up to me. I have pictures of my head and the white lion's head together, very attuned to their frequency. And the Lion Gate is one of the most potent and powerful gateways. It's going to open on July 28th. It runs to August 12th, the energy opening.
Mm.
And then people can join the codes and keep getting the information. We have DNA and healing and self-love. And the next one we're doing is the Violet Flame in Mount Shasta with Saint Germain.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, it's so much fun.
That's amazing. Is there any information, any message that you think people should know based off of everything Raphael shared with you? Like anything that you think are collaborative?
Yeah, I mean, I think Raphael just wants everyone to know that they are loved
Yeah.
and that we forget that and that we really are these divine beings and we get so kind of caught in our day-to-day life that we forget how vast we are and incredible and the capacities that we have. We get really caught in our mind and and that we are supported and loved all the time if we just like give our open up to asking for support and kind of surrendering and turning stuff over to the divine, that it will have our back if we just trust.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Can we meet Raphael?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so when I channel, I'm going to close my eyes and I'll make these sounds like ha ha, like that. And then Raphael will say hello, and then you'll say hello back. And then you can ask Raphael anything that you want.
It's amazing.
Okay. Mm. Mm. Oh, hello.
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello. We are very delighted to be here and to attune to you and your energy at this time as we are coming in right now and bringing more light to your partner as she is needing some connection in this way, as our energetic field is moving into her heart center and bringing some healing, for there is some wounding here that is coming up, and we are simply wanting, with her permission, to support her in this way and to bring great appreciation for all that she does in her collaboration and connection with so many who are bringing forth, such as yourself, information that is supporting the collective to move into the frequency of love. And so, what is it you're wanting to talk about?
Well, I would love to know what is the true cause of dis-ease?
Whatever is occurring in the body that is out of balance or in dis-ease occurs in the etheric realm prior to descending into form. It always begins in the etheric and then in the emotional realm. And if it is not cleared in the emotional realm, perhaps at times it needs to descend and densify itself, and it starts to create discord within the energetic body that begins over time eventually to create something in the physical body that is asking and requiring attention. It is that when one is unable to give themselves permission either to rest or to heal or to care for self, or to recognize a pattern perhaps that is needing to be shifted or to be changed, and they are unable to notice this over a period of time, something in the body will go off like an alarm system, which will force their hand to have some quiet time and awareness of something that needs to come back into balance and to be recalibrated into harmonization. And so, almost everything, not everything, but almost in the physical body that is out of balance begins in the emotional and etheric realms.
What's the most powerful healing frequency we can access right now?
It is always love. And it is not just love in the sense in which you perhaps perceive it, but a deep, deep willingness to love self and all parts of self itself, and to also move into a vibration and a frequency of neutrality in which one is in a state of the observer and a willingness not to attach to specific things or outcomes, but to witness what is taking place without creating in the mind's eye an energy or a story around it. It is from this state of neutrality in its alignment with the frequency of love itself, for self, and all things in which is perceived in its experience, creates the vibration of healing.
What role does our heart play in physical, emotional, and spiritual healing?
The heart center is of great importance, and you, as a human species, have been overly developing your mind and your thoughts and disconnected from the heart. The coherent frequency within the heart itself is essential for the creation process, for the healing process, and for the unification process of the collective. The heart is the essence of everything and all things, and it is from and through the heart that all comes back into balance.
Do you have a message for anybody that's feeling overwhelmed or anxious right now?
We recognize that there is a lot of static and chaotic, edgy frequency on your planet, and you're being bombarded by a lot of information that is coming in at this time from many directions, and it can create a sense of feeling scattered, as you are saying, and overwhelmed. It is very important to unplug and to eliminate as many things as possible at this time to come back into a coherent state as you alchemize the frequencies within your energetic field. It is essential to spend as much time as possible in nature and to zoom out into the larger perspective, for it is often the mind that is creating this own chaos and difficulty that is only made up within the own mind, but with a zoomed out perspective and a recognition of yourself and the aspect of who it is that you are at the highest level, you perhaps can begin to put in perspective those things that seem overwhelming and begin to surrender, turn them over, let go, and trust that they will come into alignment. You have been taught as a collective to need to control and to manage everything in your life. This began to take place during what might be perceived as the fall from grace, in a sense, in which there was a forgetting and a letting go of your ability to know that all was handled and in divine order, in which you were surrendering in the trusting of knowing that everything was provided for. Fear then bubbled up inside your energetic field and became an operating system, and you were guided by it rather than being guided by love. As you return back to the frequency of love and allow yourself to be guided by that, as it becomes the driver rather than the driver of fear and the worry of perhaps something not coming into coherence or balance, you begin to remember that everything is cared for and taken care of if only you will fall back into the arms of the divine, which is actually yourself, in a deep trusting of the larger aspect of who you are, the creator of all things, and knowing that all is well.
Wow, thank you. Is there anything that we need to know about the energy on the planet right now or the energy that's about to be coming to the planet right now?
Ah, there are many shifts, as you are very well aware, happening, and Mother Earth herself is ascending at a rapid pace. Her decision and acceleration process to ascend into a higher dimension has already taken place and has occurred. I hear many of you speaking about fifth dimensional energies as if it is a place in which you want to go to, and yet that dimension is already here and present. For some of you, it bleeds into your experience, and for others, it is just something you notice in a glimpse of a moment, and then you drop back into the third dimension. This spaciousness and ability for you to calibrate to higher dimensions of 5D and above are available to you now if you will simply allow yourself to begin to step into it. there will be a great push that will be taking place that will be coming up, and you'll be feeling a push from behind as if all of your energy is being funneled towards something. This funneling is funneling you all into a higher energetic frequency, and some of you will be able to flow with it and step into it, and others will perhaps begin to resist it. It is the resistance to what is occurring and taking place and the pushing against it and moving against the current that is creating the sorrow, the difficulty, and the pain. It is that you are experiencing what might be perceived as growing pains or contractions, in a sense, in this birthing process. But like any birthing process, it requires you to breathe, to surrender, to open, and to let go, and to know that that in which you cannot perceive from the perspective that you are in now, that you have not noticed or witnessed yet, that is coming through and being birthed through you, is miraculous and beautiful, and to trust in the process.
Wow. What is energetically supporting that big push?
Oh, it is actually you, but from your perspective, where you are, it is something separate from you. You have completed a cycle. Many of it call it the end of the Piscean age or the end of the Kali Yuga as a descendant cycle that brought you into the human experience of the outbreath of separation to the farthest reaches of your capacity into fragmented pieces in which you had the beautiful experience of experiencing the senses, and all the humanness in which you have to date is now breathing back in. And as it is unifying and coming back into wholeness, you are going through a birth canal of great shifts and change. And the momentum that is breathing it in is the collective of all of you together. So the push is actually all of you pushing yourselves, although you perceive it as something separate from yourselves, as you are accelerating, in a sense, up a spiral of energy back into the unified field in which you will merge back into the oneness. However, in order to do that over the perspective of your perception in linear time, this will take quite some time, as it has to unfold into the fragmented paces. As you've clothed yourself in matter, you are beginning to awaken to your own divinity, unifying into the collective and returning into a sense of wholeness, into the place of emptiness, the spaciousness, the oneness. And so your trajectory now is in an upward spiral in this direction back into the oneness. And as you are moving through this perception, you perceive it as something separate from you, pushing you, but it is actually yourself in your decision to reharmonize as a collective.
That's amazing. In linear time, do you know when that's going to be happening energetically? Is it the near future?
Ah. It is what you call an age, an era, a new time. However, there is a lot of energies that are gripping and holding on very tight to what was familiar, because the past of this sense of separation, or perhaps thought of as hierarchy, benefited many who were able to fool, in a sense, yourself, which is a part of yourself, into this state of forgetting. And as you are awakening, they are very keen on keeping you distracted. And so there may be many chaotic things that will happen or events that will come in that could distract you. But if you choose not to align with that frequency and recognize that it is an illusion and not attuned to it, you will move at a much faster rate in your acceleration toward unity. If you collectively choose to agree upon the scenarios, agendas, or things that begin to play out that are based in fear to separate you from your acceleration process, then in linear time it will take longer. Regardless of the time frame of how long it will take, it will occur because it is the natural state of what is occurring for you as a collective at this time. It is not only you on earth who are moving into a unified state, but it is us in the angelic realm are also unifying. It is those in the galactic realms, in the inner earth realms. We are all moving through a state of change and an ascension process together collectively as a whole into a higher frequency until we unify again as one energy until the cycle begins again. And so there is always a wondering in the mind of to put a frame around this, a time, because all the mind wants to know is what will be happening in the future. Will I be safe? How long will it take? When is the ascension process going to be? Is there going to be destruction? Is there going to be chaos? Is there going to be war? Is there going to be famine? And we want to remind you that this need to know is an idea energetically to allow yourselves to feel safe if you are to hear that all is perfect. But we also want to remind you that you are the creators of it. So if you decide that the acceleration process is going to occur on a timeline that perhaps is moving at a faster rate, then it will, because you are the quantum creators, the master creators of your experience. And it is the awakening and the remembering of this in its totality that will allow you to come into union at the rate in which perhaps you perceive is necessary. However, you are an infinite being of light, and so there is no end to this and no beginning. It is infinite and continuous. And so, however, we understand through the need of the mind to wonder, yes, the next several years will be a lot of shifts and changes, but you can move through them with ease and grace as you collectively choose to do so, rather than to place your energies and attention upon the chaos or the distractions.
Wow, mind blowing. Just a couple more questions. I'm curious if some humans carry angelic DNA or come from angelic realms.
Oh, well, every human and every angel and every goddess and ascended master and being of light all carries the same coding on some level. However, from this perspective and understanding in the mind to understand the construct of hierarchy that is in this now moment, we are not carrying biological DNA in the way that you are. You right now are clothed in matter and in form. And so you are carrying DNA that is in relationship to your planet, to the elements, to the water, to the animals, to one another. And where it is that I am, and in the realm in which I am at this moment, I am not operating in the same biological way that you are, or connected to your planet in that way, but I am a messenger of energy that remains in a state of wholeness with the capacity to interface with you and share my love to support you in your evolution and on your journey. But we do not necessarily cross over in this way of our DNA. However, we are interconnected, and from the largest perspective, we are unified as one energy.
Can we access the energy of angels to help us in our healing?
Ah, of course, for it is that I am always here, but due to the agreement of the human experience and your free will, I cannot interfere without asking. We find it quite curious that many of you forget to ask, but it is in the asking of our support and help that we are here and willing and wanting to support you in your healing process at any time. And if you can open to us and the other realms, as many of the galactic beings are so strong and present at this time in their capacity through their frequencies and technologies, in also assisting your healing along with mine as Archangel Raphael, I am the angel of healing, can open up spaciousness within your field to create instantaneous miracles. However, it requires within your own being a willingness to accept the miracle and a willingness to know that it is true.
Is there any final message you would like our group to hear about anything at all?
Ah, we are wanting you to know that we love you. And we know that that word, I love you, is often said when it is meaningless, but we are saying it from the depth of our being. And we ask you to receive this and to know that you are so brave that you have chosen to come and to descend and to clothe yourself in matter and form, to walk through time and to walk through space in the humanness of your experience. And we want to remind you that you have forgotten who you truly are, how divine and beautiful and magnificent you are, that you've clothed yourself in this way and in this forgetting and amnesia on purpose. It was part of a design and an agreement. And so while you are clothed in this and beginning to awaken, enjoy every moment of it. Enjoy the presence of the human experience, for there is nowhere else in the universe as an experience that you can have like you can on this beautiful jewel that you call Mother Earth, in this magnificent human body that you have, and the biology in which you are in, and the senses that you have, the capacity to see the sun setting, to hear the birds chirping, to feel the sensation of wind on your face, to attune and feel the love of another or the skin of their nakedness against yours, the love in your heart, the attunement to the beauty of nature, the frequency of the taste and the scent of something magnificent. These experiences are not something that are experienced in other realms. And so savor, enjoy, embrace, and feel the presence of each moment to the greatest capacity that you can. And know that you chose to be here, that you are meant to be here during this time, and that you are a being of light. With that, we send to you all of our love and all of our light from the angelic realm. Remember, you are never alone. We are always here loving you. Many blessings and good day.
Wow, that was beautiful.
Mm.
Oh, I'm gonna have to go back and watch that so many times. I love Raphael.
Oh,
Yeah, very pure energy. And Leah's gonna really appreciate that blessing.
yeah, she needs it right now.
Thank you. Um,
Mm.
yeah, I'm actually like mind blown. So, I'm curious how we can support you. How can our following support you and get in touch with everything that you're doing?
Oh, thank you. I'm really truly here to support you and everyone that's listening and to be of service. Really am. So, they can go to theangelraphael.com or look me up on YouTube, the Angel Raphael. Um, Join us for the Lion Gate and feel the energy move through their body and our codes and whatever they feel resonates with them. We love to have them with us.
Great. And I'd love to have you come back when Leah's feeling better.
Yeah, that'd be great. We'll do it again for sure.
Awesome. Well, yeah, this was a blast. It was so good to get to know you. And yeah, thank you for coming on.
Thanks, Kyle. Thanks for having me.
All right. Bye, everybody. We love you.
Bye, everybody. Love, love, love.